Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bald Explorer live Facebook show with our special guest, Gary Baines. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Richard. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. You managed, your tall frame has managed to cram into the tiny cupboard that is the studio. It is a bit of a cupboard. It is a squeeze, isn't it?
I had to duck under a few doors to get in here.
Yeah, luckily no bruises on the top of the head.
Not that you can see.
No. Well, you've got hair, you see. So yes, if I have bruises or any cut, it just seems to sort of stick out like a sore thumb. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along. We missed out the last show last time because we were live in a theatre. Martin Snow and I were performing, prancing around as much as we could to a live audience, and maybe you were one of those people who saw it, and if you were, thank you so much for coming. But we are now here in the Vobes back room with a whole load of nonsense around here, but our lovely guest from Shoreham Fort. Isn't that true?
That's right, yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And we're going to find out about Shoreham Fort, but let's make sure first of all there are a few people out there. So we've got Newport Shapwick, we've got Martin Snow, Nigel Sadler, we've got Daryl Hoyter, we've got Anne, David, Neil, Graham, John, Christopher, loads of you. So that's good, isn't it?
It is very good.
And more people coming all the time, so that's absolutely wonderful. So now, before we get going, would you like a nice cup of tea?
I'd love one.
Ah,
yeah,
fantastic.
I'd love one.
Now, all the guests on the show, they get a nice cup of tea and something to munch with it. We'll get to the munches in a minute.
Okay.
But the guests have to do the work, I'm afraid. So
That's okay. I don't mind doing that.
could you put the kettle on? We have a kettle on the edge of the frame here.
Yeah.
And we've tested it so it didn't blow the lights or anything. Whilst that's doing its warming up, we have some tea. Could you tell the lovely viewer, listener?
We have, yeah.
Just
It's quite
crackling.
noisy, that, isn't it? Yeah, we've got strawberry and vanilla green tea that says it's smooth, juicy and luscious.
So if you hold it right up to the camera over there, it's Taylor's of...
That way.
Yeah, there we go. It's Taylor's of Harrogate, strawberry and vanilla green tea. So yeah, so that's quite good. I hope the kettle isn't making too much noise. It's funny how you have a kettle and you don't really think how noisy is your kettle until of course you're in the studio and you've got microphones either side of it, but we'll get over it. So
We will.
this is I've never tried this before. This looks like a nice relaxing cup of tea. Do you like tea? I haven't asked.
I do like tea, yeah.
Thank God for that.
I do like tea.
So yeah, they come in their own little sachets. I think there's 20 of them, and I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of quid for it. If you've tried any of this tea, tell us in the comments. And if you recommend a cup of different type of tea other than your bog standard tea, then let us know what that is, and maybe we'll do that on the next show. And here we go. The kettle is, you can't see the, oh, there's a bit of steam coming. It's coming, so I'll let, oh, it smells nice.
It smells lovely, doesn't it? Yeah, doesn't it just?
So there we go, kettle is boiled, fantastic. We like to do these things live on the show. Whilst you're doing that, I'll just make sure that people can still hear us. Nice start, thank you very much. Can you hear us all? Everything's working all right? You can, oh yes, the kettle's looking fantastic and the steam is going at all. I'm very, very thrilled. I'm very, very pleased. So, put that down there. So we're going to get that going. Let's get rid of the box for the moment. I'll be interested in what people think of the tea.
Duncan.
You make a lot of tea, don't you, for your
We
helpers?
do. In Food for Thought, yeah, there's a lot of volunteers that come and help us, and we do have to make them all cups of tea.
Yeah.
They appreciate that. But yeah, so we make quite a lot of cup of teas in the year.
So now, Gary and I made a video. Well, let's just go back. I did a walk over Shoreham Fort, which is a fortress right on the seafront at Shoreham, next to the river Ada coming in.
That's it, yeah.
And I did a little walk one day, and then I walked up onto the wall of the harbour and had a chat with the fishermen. And Gary made a comment, if I remember rightly, saying, "Well, if you'd asked, I'd have let you in."
Pretty much.
And I thought, "Now, there's a good idea." So I got in touch with Gary.
Yeah.
We went back. Gary did a fantastic interview, told us a bit about the fort and the videos on Facebook and YouTube. And we've seen each other since then. And so you said, "I'd love to do a live show." And I said, "I'd love you to do a live show." So for the benefit of those people who haven't seen any of the stuff about Shoreham Fort, or haven't even thought about it, could you tell us a little bit of info about Shoreham Fort?
Course.
And then we'll have a sip once that's steeped.
Definitely. Well, I think the first thing is to let people know where it is.
Yeah.
It's at the end of Shoreham Beach.
Right.
So basically you come off at the roundabout near to the Longshore pub, and you go all the way to the end of the beach until you get wet.
Right.
When you get wet, or just before, you can park your car in the car park usually, and then come and see us over at the fort. So right at the end of Shoreham Beach in West Sussex.
And it's on the what is it? Never Eat Shredded Wheat. It's on the west side of the harbour.
That's right.
Yeah, because if you go down to where the lifeboat place is, you're on the wrong side of the inlet, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have a bit of a swim to get to the fort.
Yes, you would.
So that's where it is. And what period of fort is it?
Well, it's Napoleonic. Well, it's Napoleon III, so it was built in 1857. And it's a prototype to all the Palmerston forts around the country.
So just explain what a Palmerston fort is, because Palmerston, if my history is right, and I only know this from you, to be honest, was a prime minister, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He was prime minister twice, but he was very keen on defending our country from the French.
Right.
So he wanted to develop a new ring of forts around the country, and we started with the prototypes at Littlehampton and Shoreham. We were the one where they got the design right. Before going on to build others.
So there's one at Littlehampton, which is earlier but slightly wrong.
It's 1854.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's slightly wrong, but they learnt a few lessons
okay,
along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
With some prototypes, you do learn a few lessons.
That's the whole point of a prototype, isn't it?
That's
it. Absolutely. And then after that, you're just the carbon copy.
Yeah,
thereon with a few tweaks.
Yeah.
So it's like being the original is a really good thing.
It is, yeah, it certainly is, and tells a good story, as you know.
Yeah,
so,
with
definitely. Lots of history,
and very close to France, very close to a potential threat.
Yes,
down at Shoreham, and protecting the harbour.
Yeah, and with the new boats that could travel faster than the ferry that goes from Newhaven to Dieppe today, it was a very quick boat, so they could be here in hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a sip of the tea and see what we think.
Yeah.
So, has anybody been to Shoreham Fort? If you've been to Shoreham Fort, we would like your thoughts on that.
Very good.
And when did you go? Because it's been, how long has it been in the state that it's been, where it's been open to the public?
Well, we've only been operating now since 2010, so to get it into a safe state for the public to look at, it's been relatively soon.
Right.
But after that, it's been open since 1958, 59,
right. Oh, okay.
and just left to decay.
I see. So no one was looking after it or repairing it. It was just sort of there.
That's it. And they did a small restoration project in 1977 to 79,
right,
which gave us the fort back in a state that was worth looking after today.
Right. Oh, brilliant. How interesting. What do you think of the tea?
It's very hot.
That is the problem.
It smells lovely.
It does smell delicious. So it's green tea, and it does look like wee in terms of colour.
Yeah.
But it doesn't smell like wee.
No. It's very, strawberry. Got the strawberry.
It's a weird mixture of, because I'm imagining it to be almost sweet, but there's no sugar in there at all.
No.
And it's sort of, it is bitterish because it's like green tea. It's got a green tea base with this sort of what smells very lovely.
It does.
Fills the room with this gorgeous aroma.
Certainly makes you feel warmer in these cold rooms.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, we have got a little fire on, but it is chillying up. It's very cold at the moment here in the UK. To anybody who happens to be watching overseas, wherever those people sitting at home in the Sahara Desert, tuning in to the Bald Explorer show, as you do.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So there we go. So I'm going to get on to the questions about Shoreham Fort a bit more.
Yep.
But before we all of that, I need to address a couple of things about the theatre show that we did last week. First of all, is anybody watching who attended, or have you had enough of the Vobes by now after seeing me in the flesh and thinking, oh no, I can't stomach him? It would be interesting to know. Martin Snow says it's well worth a visit to Shoreham Fort, by the way, which is very nice. And Tetley Tea, Green Mango and Passion Fruit, says Christopher Cox. So that's worth knowing about. We'll have to give that a go. Well, anyway, in the theatre show, one of the things I asked people to do was to name their favourite place, and also if they had a question for me. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the favourite places, because the idea was really to give me some ideas of where to go and do a walk to appease the audience. So Sleepy Hollow, George's Lane. Do you know where that is?
George's Lane, is that up near Washington?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. Warren Hill, Sleepy Hollow.
I haven't got a clue.
I'm stumped. If you could give us some directions, that would be lovely. Stane Street, Roman Road. Well, there's quite a long bit of Stane Street, so that could be a... Slindon Folly. Yes, we've done that one, so I do like that. Highdown Gardens. Have you been to
definitely.
I haven't been to it.
Trip.
Yeah, I've been about 10 years ago, but not recently. Cookmere Haven, we've been there a few times. Sisbury Ring and Chanterbury Ring. Yes, I've been to both of those and made videos. Arundel, Swanbourne Lake. Oh, that's the lake at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Been on the boats there.
That's it. Yeah.
Up to the little boating house on the northish side. Lancing Harbour.
Did Lancing have a harbour?
Old Salts Farm salt mines. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Highdown Gardens. Somebody else. Chanterbury Ring. One of the questions. We asked for questions. I've ignored some of the questions here, but I can't ignore this one. It says, have you got a proper job? And it says that's from somebody called Ross, or Roz. Well, I do sort of have a proper job. I do occasionally make corporate videos, but I haven't been making very many recently because I've been concentrating on the walks, trying to make this the job. So... yeah, that was quite funny. Highdown Hill gets quite a lot. Cookmere Haven, West Wittering, Bosham, Henfield, Up Park House. Where's that? Salt Marden, West Marden, Up Marden, South Harting. There's bits of Sussex I've not been to. Yeah. And we haven't really gone much into East Sussex, actually. Ashington, favourite place because we restore steam engines there, says whoever wrote that one. Oh, we must go. It's a shame you didn't say who you were, because it would be great to go and interview you about your steam engines in Ashton. Was there any steam engines involved, steam power involved at Shoreham?
Not in the 1850s to build it, but we did have steam cranes to build the harbour arms.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
In the late 50s.
So, steam power, yeah, because steam power had been... my engineering history is not very good, or it's missing altogether. But we've had steam power from when, the 1820s, something like that. Something like that. So and cranes. Would they use those cranes to get the big guns on the top?
No, that was all done by hand.
Oh, was it?
Rollers and
really?
Rope and everything. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the cannon that you have. Was there at the fort?
Okay, well, the cannons were 64-pounder cannons, as they're known. So the
what does
shell,
that mean? Yes,
the shell itself weighed 64 pounds, which is just over 25 kilos.
Is that the cannonball?
It's a shell, so more of a bullet type shape.
Oh,
shell.
okay.
Yeah, we went from the ball, which was for smoothbore cannons,
right?
But because we had the first rifle technology, where the cannon barrel spirals,
so that sends the bullet in a spin.
That's it.
To go in a true line.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah, it's more accurate and it goes a lot further. So we went from 800 yards with smoothbore cannons to 4,500 yards with the new technology at Shoreham Fort.
Wow.
So, yeah, a massive difference.
Yeah. Gosh.
But the cannons themselves weighed 5 tons, just the barrel section.
Crikey. Yeah. So at Shoreham Fort you've got these two main levels, haven't you? You've got the sort of, because the fort, if you haven't been, it's quite a it's got a low profile, hasn't it? Because the idea is that you don't want to be a target for boats, presumably. Yeah. So you've got these two levels which aren't terribly high from each other, but if you're carrying, how heavy did you say it was?
5 tons.
5 tons. So the men, your strapping, strong men, would have to get these up into position. And once they're in position, they stay there, presumably.
They do, yeah. Apart from obviously then steering them, which again is done with ropes and pulleys. And,
right. So these guys have to be quite fit then, don't they?
Yeah. There was 8 men to steer each cannon up the top. So,
right. Yeah. Gosh. The men that worked there were very proud.
They were very proud. Yeah, very proud. In fact, they were so proud that they paid for their own uniform.
Gosh.
6 to 8 weeks' wages would go on their own uniform.
And we've got a bit of uniform behind us, haven't we?
Yeah, with the lovely knots on the back here. This is actually an original uniform from the 1880s, and it's what our captain would have wore.
And you were telling me earlier that is got silver thread.
Silver thread, yeah.
Inside. I mean, they didn't scrimp. We'll show you some pictures of some other bits, but in a minute. But there's a link that you're going to do.
There is, yeah. Well, the reason that they spent so much money was not only to protect their country, but because it had lots of luxuries with it. Well, you'd be a volunteer, and perhaps at home you were living off cabbage water and that sort of thing, but at the fort you'd get roast dinners and maybe even a bit of cake.
Cake?
It's
funny you should say cake, Gary, because I believe we do have a bit of cake to go with our tea.
We do.
It's another tradition on the show. Is it's nice to have a guest, so if we have a guest we ought to feed him. Last time we had Nick Tan. He didn't bring any cake, but he brought coffee, so that was fun, and he fed me with the coffee. So what cake have we got today?
This is apple crumble loaf cake with custard flavour, buttercream hidden in the centre.
Fantastic. And that's a Morrison's own luxury thing, the best, it says. Apple crumble loaf cake,
established in 1899. Let's hope the cake hasn't been around since then.
I hope not. So, well, open that up. Open that up. So, yeah, so I'm interested in these the men, because we're going to show you in a minute, but we, in our modern day, we eat quite well. We do. You know, people say that we're poor, some of us are poor and needy and all the rest of it, but compared back, 150 years, 200 years?
160 years.
160 years, those poor chaps, they weren't as big as us. What was the size of the average man back then?
Well, the average man back then was about 5'2".
5'2".
Yeah. Bearing in mind I'm 6'5", I'm quite a bit of a giant compared to them.
I'm 5'10", so that's 8 inches smaller.
There you go.
Wow. So we're cutting up the cake now, as you can see.
Right, how are we going to get that out?
Well, you may have to just rip the box.
I think we might have to, because that's going to ooze everywhere with that filling. I
know, I'm looking forward to it. No need to stand on ceremony in this show. Just whack it out. There he goes. What have we got here? Do keep your comments coming. We do check on them. We don't always necessarily read them all out, because obviously you can see them. But Stuart Moore's saying cake. Andy Vincent saying cake.
Oh, that's 2 of the volunteers at the fort, you see. They love to have a bit of cake.
Oh, wow, look at that. Well, we're hoping... So your cake at the fort, that's homemade cake, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So you'll be able to tell me, this is obviously manufactured cake. It's not going to be as good as homemade cake by any means.
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
But, you know,
not as good as the cake that we serve at Food for Fort.
Absolutely. So, you know, you're a good cake eater. So
How can you tell, Richard?
Well, I just, you know, you offered me a fabulous piece of cake when I went round the other day to do a little bit of filming. So, apple crumble. This is what it's supposed to be with a... What did you say? Banana cream? I've lost the thing now.
Yeah, where did it go? Down here. So,
filed away.
It's buttercream.
Oh, buttercream.
Yeah, custard flavoured buttercream.
What do you think?
It's very nice, actually. Very nice. You did want me to talk for the rest of the show, didn't you?
You've got to eat the cake and talk. Oh yeah, somehow. Whilst we're munching, let's just show you some of the bits that you brought in, some bits, and we got some close-ups of them. So could you just hold up one of the things?
Yeah, we've got the pouch here, which is known as a Sabotage pouch.
Sabotage.
Sabotage, yeah.
Is that? But that's not an English word, is it?
No, it's not. I don't know where it originates, but basically it's a pouch that would be worn over the back of the soldier,
Right.
and inside here they would carry their orders for the day. So if anything happened to the captain in charge, then they could take this pouch off and still know what the orders were for the rest of the soldiers. Yeah.
Here's a close up, so you can see it, and so you've got there. That's the royal crest, is it?
Yeah, yeah, and then you've got the cannon there as well. Again, all of this, you'll see the tiny little sequins that you've got on there, and the thread. This is solid silver thread, so it would have taken a lot to make this uniform. And you can see why the cost was so high for these. But they were very proud. They went out wearing this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's very, very smart. Very smart.
And how heavy is that?
Oh, it's reasonably heavy.
It's reasonably heavy, but it's not like solid gold or anything.
No, it's not heavy that you'd be uncomfortable wearing it. No. But it's just a very nice piece of kit, and you can imagine the men having to polish all of these parts on the belt, and it's just very, very nice and very rare now.
Is it?
Very rare.
And is that from Shoreham, that one?
Well, it's an example of what would have been there.
Yes.
I can't guarantee that it would have been from Shoreham Fort, but it's definitely the uniform.
Uniform of.
Yeah. But what else I've got here, I can guarantee that probably came from Shoreham Fort. It's the cap badge that they would have worn on top of their helmet.
Oh, okay. Let's. I've got a close up here of the cap badge.
Yeah, or helmet plate, as they're known.
Okay.
And you can see on there, just above the cannon wheel, it says first, and then underneath it says Sussex Artillery Volunteers.
Wow.
Now, these are very rare. We know that there's probably only about 5 of them left in the UK.
Blimey.
And we own 2 of them as a charity.
Gosh.
But again, solid silver. So it does show what sort of quality these guys went to.
And so they would have been very proud. We were talking earlier. They bought their own uniform, so they would like to have been seen in their uniform, presumably.
Yeah.
And they would have kept it in good order.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to, because the sergeant major or whoever in charge would be going, "Oi."
That's it. That's it.
But it was that discipline and that sense of being. And I think all soldiers probably have that, don't they? They're proud of their regiment. They're proud of their country. They're proud of everything. And it does seem that a sense of that these days is a bit lost. We seem to be losing that sense of being proud of who we are, particularly in nations and things. All those lines are getting a bit blurred. Have another bit of.
Oh, maybe. What I do want to do is just explain how small these young men were.
Right.
This is actually an original helmet that would have been worn at Shoreham. Okay. Would you like to try that on?
Yeah. It does look tiddly.
It is tiddly.
And so that's typical size of an average
soldier that would have been at Shoreham Fort.
God, hang on, I look like Noddy and Toy. Gosh. So now I have no hair to impede, and I've got an average sized head. I mean, a lot of people think I'm a big head, but but wow, look at that. That should come right down a bit more so that the thing goes over your nose.
Yeah, the peak's near on halfway down your nose. Yeah.
What's it made of?
There's leather in there. There's canvas as well. Again, solid silver on all the peaks and the top section as well.
You've got to put it on your head now, because you've got hair.
Do that. I've got hair and my head's really big. Oh, look.
You might have to slump down a bit so we can see.
There you go.
There we are. Ah. Amazing.
Now, while I'm bending down like this, they've actually put a ball on top of the helmet.
Right.
Now, what you'd see with normal helmets for the artillery, for the infantry, is a spike on top.
Yes.
But what they realise with the artillery, they're bending down to load the cannon, and they might come up quickly. Well, you don't want to be stood in front of a spike because you come back up.
No.
So they've changed it to a ball to stop anything that happening.
Oh, well, a bit more pleasant, I suppose.
But very small men.
Very small,
but very proud of their country.
Yes. So would you say they were wiry men? I mean, they not an ounce of fat probably because of the diet and stuff, but they were still training and everything else.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the space of 160 years, the average man has got taller.
Yeah.
Bloated out a bit because we're not unless you're in the army or you've got specific training, we're not doing that 24/7, and presumably our diets has made our overall physique better.
Yeah.
What was the average life span of somebody back then?
Back then, probably about 67, something like that. So
right. Yeah. So there you go. That's it's amazing. And presumably the enemy, if the French had come over and were invading, they'd be a similar size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be.
You know.
Yeah. Although I would imagine that the French probably had a better diet because they do like to eat, don't they?
Yeah,
French?
that's true.
And
Well, they
drink wine
and eat all those frogs' legs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, amazing.
Yeah.
So, how often is the fort open?
It's open once a fortnight on a Sunday.
Right.
That's when we're there. That's when you can get a guided tour. So we're there this Sunday, and then every other Sunday throughout the year. The site is actually open 365 days a year, and we have provided picnic benches and things like that, so you can have a nice.
So you can't go inside, but you can wander around and look at all the brickwork and and go up onto the gun levels.
Yep.
What do you call a gun deck?
Terraplane.
Yeah. And you've got now, you've got that lovely, you've got the tunnel,
sticky out bit,
the sticky out bit that you go into when we went in on the video, and there was this dirty great big replica of a large cannon.
Yeah.
And it's got this lovely French name, which I struggled with.
And that's why I got in contact with you, because you weren't pronouncing it right on your videos, were you?
No.
It's Caponia.
Caponia.
Well done.
There you go.
You've got it
now.
right.
I know, I've had plenty of practice in the Caponia.
That's it.
And yeah, so it is worth going, but at the moment there's a lot of work going on. When we came to film, the car park which is there, which just makes it so much easier. Although you can park in the streets, to be fair.
You can, yeah.
You can, but if you don't know and you're following the signs, tell us about the work that's going on in the area.
It's part of the tidal wall scheme, so they're actually building a wall from Shoreham Fort all the way up to Beeding and the cement works.
This is nothing to do with Trump, is it? And keeping the Mexicans out? No.
This is about keeping water out.
Oh, keeping the water out.
This is to stop us flooding in the next 50 years.
Oh, right,
yeah. So, but that's what they're working on at the moment. So they're pile driving in this new wall.
You can hear that, can't you? I mean, when we were filming, because they're chucking stuff in, and you can hear that go. Yeah. It's like some sort of battle going on in the background.
It's like a thunderstorm.
yeah, permanent. Yeah. How long will they be there?
I believe until about April.
Oh, so not too long then.
Not too long.
So as your season, because your main season, what is from April, May?
Our first event is on Easter Sunday. We do our Easter Sunday Fun Day, where we get all the kids there to do egg and spoon races, sack races, all that sort of thing. It's really about bringing the community there and having fun.
Do you have school visits as well?
We do, yeah. We have school visits. We get them to strip down Vickers machine guns, run across the playground, put them all back together.
I had to think for a moment though, because when you said strip down Vickers, and then you said
naughty.
Machine gun, I had to thought Vickers don't have a machine gun, and then I realised that you meant Vickers
That's it.
Ammunition manufacturer.
Yeah.
Are they still in existence?
They're not.
They're not. No. Vickers machine guns.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading some stuff about the Second World War, about the worry that people had when at the outbreak that there were going to be all these Vickers coming down, the German parachute troopers with machine guns, policemen and Vickers and all that. So that's
there you go.
That went through my mind.
Not that sort of Vicker.
No, I realise that now. I'll have another bit of cake.
You should do. You should do. But we're very much at Shoreham Fort about learning through experience. So any of the kids that come to the fort and adults, they are encouraged to do what the soldiers were actually doing at the fort. So we do replica rifle training where they come out and do rifle drill with us.
Fantastic.
It's all good fun.
And I'm sure it's not just the kids who would want to do that. Some grown-ups, dads particularly, I can imagine, would like to do a bit of rifle drills.
Definitely. We've even had the parents doing the egg and spoon races and the sack races. It's great fun. Everybody gets involved.
Oh, that's great. And I bet the kids hate that. It's like, Mum, Dad, no, that's not for you. It's for us. Fools.
Actually, I think they prefer it because the adults are no good at it.
Yes,
the kids are fantastic.
It shows the adults up to how lame they really are.
Yeah.
You see, I can't eat the cake now because I keep talking.
There you go. Well, while you're eating a bit of cake, perhaps I can show what the volunteers have been working on recently.
Do, yeah, no, be very interested.
This is actually Now, no one's seen this because we did a Kickstarter project recently. The volunteers got together and did a Kickstarter project. This is a souvenir book now of the fort. It's not been launched until our AGM on the 21st of
This
February.
is an exclusive.
Yeah, this is an exclusive. So what you see in here is the history of the fort, and even a kids activity pack in there.
Look
so
at
you've got
that.
colouring and all that sort of thing as well.
It's beautifully made.
It's very nicely made, and as I say, it's being launched on the 21st at our AGM at the Yacht Club in Shoreham. So it's going to be an introductory price there of £3.50, but £4.99, so quite reasonable to buy this at the fort from.
And the proceeds go back into...
Straight back into the fort, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So what, talking about the proceeds of the fort then, what sort of stuff do you have to, what do you do with the money? What needs to be done? Because I know when we spoke before, you've got very big plans for the future.
Big plans. Yeah, very big plans. We want to build back the Barratt block and complete the fort in its entirety to make it a multi-purpose community asset. Which is a massive goal.
Just to unpack that, then you build back the Barratt block.
Yeah.
So that at one time there was a great big block of a brick building.
Yeah, a brick building where
the barracks where the soldiers lived. Yeah,
and that was demolished in 1958. But we want to rebuild that and make it into a multi-purpose community asset.
Wow. Yeah. Gosh, how many stories was that?
It's just one story.
Just one story because it's the low profile.
It's got to keep low. Yeah. So it's just one story, but it's quite a big building, and eventually the main chamber could sit 150 people. So who knows? You could be doing a Board Explorer live theatre show there.
Yes, I think that would be great. We'll have to up my game somewhat.
We might be a little bit older by then as well.
Oh yeah. What's the time frame for this?
We'd like to get it done in the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years.
Oh, okay, not too old then.
No, not too old.
No, I might have a Zimmer frame. I may have lost another eye by then. Come in with a white stick.
Let's hope not.
No,
let's hope
exactly.
not.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's a huge project, and is it going to be part funded by the lottery? And
we're hoping so. We're hoping so. We obviously try to raise public donations as well, and that's why we put on quite a few events throughout the year, and they're free entry. We try to encourage everybody to come to the fort. Our biggest one is Military History Weekend on the 2nd and 3rd of June this year, where we have cannons firing and soldiers of all different eras there, and again free entry. We don't want anyone to be excluded from being able to enjoy our events.
No.
But that raises the money then to go into the maintenance of the fort. And you would have seen the last time you came the lovely interpretation panels that you can see with the history there when we're not there. They've just been designed and put up.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
great.
We always make the pound go as far as we can.
Yes.
And the Nissen hut that we were sat in the other day, it cost us less than £4,000. Now, a multi-purpose asset of that size would have cost us 120,000.
Blimey.
So we've saved the pennies, but made them go really far. And that's what we're about.
Now, let's just go back to a moment. Let me just check the time. We're at past. We normally do half an hour, but recent times we've just sort of ambled on a bit, provided there's somebody still out there prepared to watch us, which there does seem. And there's a few emojis floating by. Thank you very much for that. Get all those emojis going. We want to see them float by, all the little thumbs up and the hearts and because when we watch this we get a slightly delayed picture, so we'll just wait to see if you want us to carry on a little bit, or here they come.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Oh, look at all those little thumbs up. They're superb. Thank you very much. It's very encouraging. I just want to take you back, Gary, to when you were a nipper, really, because your involvement with the fort, I think, is pretty unique. With a lot of places like that, because you tell us, you were a young man.
I was only 4. I was taken to the fort by my grandfather, and I could remember running around the fort using his walking stick as a gun, shooting at him like he was a soldier, and that kind of spurred my memory. And unfortunately it was the last memory of my grandfather, because he passed away that same year. So it wasn't until I was 14 when I found the fort again, because nobody knows it's there, or certainly didn't back then. And from then I've been researching the fort, so it's 20-something years this year that I've been researching it. Yeah, so, but that's what spurred me on, and I think it's what's given us the advantage, if you like, because I'm still a youngster, so I think. So I can see the project through, whereas usually this sort of project is started by a retired person later on in life where they've got the time to give to the project. But yeah, hopefully I've got a few more years in me and can see this through.
And you're, I mean, clearly you're so passionate about it. And,
we try to be.
Yeah. No, it oozes from you, and I think that's what people, you know, people love people who are passionate about something, because if you're not passionate about something, people go, well, if you don't give a monkeys, why should I? But
that's it.
You know, people get drawn into somebody's passion.
They do,
and that's what you definitely bring. And
thank you.
You know, it's true. And I think that you must put that into the volunteers, because when people volunteer, they're giving up their time and energy, and you know, that they could be doing, going down the pub or whatever, and you know, it takes quite a strong person to keep those people going. So
it does, but at the same time, I always say it takes a boy to dream, but a community to make it reality, and that's exactly what's happened at Shoreham Fort. Our volunteers come from far and wide. We've got people that come from Hastings, just to come and help us out on a fortnightly basis. I'm not going to say that we don't need more volunteers, because obviously every volunteer organisation out there could do with more, and the more people you've got, the lighter the work it is. But they do an absolute, well, they break their backs. They really do break their backs to achieve what we have done in such a little time.
Well, I know you were telling me, I mean, literally, not literally breaking their backs, but you had to clear out the Caponia.
Ah!
I thought I had it.
No.
Caponia. Think pond. Caponia.
Yeah. A French word that means chicken coop.
Yeah, the Caponia. You had to. That was filled with rubble.
It was,
and up to your chest
up
or something.
Past my chest, which is quite
quite for
high.
a 6 foot whatever it was.
6'5",
6'5" man. That's quite a lot. And you and your volunteers, you know, they got down there and they did the business.
Well, 10 of us got down there and removed over 23 tons in 6 days.
Wow.
So,
gosh, that's quite a few wheelbarrows.
It is. Well, we couldn't use wheelbarrows. It all had to be hand pulled out.
Yeah, because it's a narrow, narrow tunnel to the Caponia.
Caponia, well done. We'll get there.
2020. I'll have it. So it is an amazing story. So yeah, definitely well worth a visit. And as you say, open all the time.
Yeah.
Let me. I must do something while I think of it, and I hadn't thought of it. But in the theatre show that we did, just to take you off course. Thank you very much for coming and all the rest of it. Somebody has left some keys, and I've had these keys since last Friday. I've had them a week. Now, I don't want to show them too much, because if they're your keys, you should be able to identify them, and I don't want somebody to come along and go, oh, they're my keys, and not actually be your keys. But they're a small bunch of keys. You'll be able to tell me how many there are, but it does look like there's possibly a car key or a house key or a key to a deposit box or something. Anyway.
Wow.
I don't want to say too much, but if they're your keys and you can identify them, I've got them, and I don't really want to have the responsibility, because one of these keys may be opening a little safe somewhere with a ton of money. And are you any good at detective work? Who knows? But if you did leave some keys, I mean, you must know about it. The venue hasn't got in touch with me. They know I've got the keys, and nobody's got in touch with me. And I put it on Facebook, so I'm a bit miffed as what to do. Obviously, I'm not going to throw them away, but
they're getting a bit cold if they've been locked out all week.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's probably going, well, check the pockets again. So I don't know. So there we are. Let's see what's going on in the room, or in the chat room. Hi from Santa Paula in California. Hello, wow. Judy. Thank you very much. Looking good, chaps. Thank you very much. Our physique is better, says Nigel Sadler. which is good. Good evening. Has this gone back to the beginning? Stuart Moore says, I remember it well.
He was digging the tunnel with us.
Oh, digging the tunnel. Yes, yes. He's probably got the calluses on his hands to prove it.
Probably still, yeah.
That's amazing. Talking of the theatre show, there will be a video version of the theatre. I'm just going through the edit. It's quite tedious because it's about 2 hours long. But I'm trying to sort of take out the boring bits and just leave the good bits. So it's 3 hours long now. So there will be that, and we'll bung it up. I don't quite know what to do in terms of... It's a bit... I'll ask your advice. People paid to come and see the show.
Yeah.
If I put the show up as a video, do you think the people who paid to see the show will think, oh, I could have just stayed at home?
Maybe.
Or do you think I should just ask for a nominal download fee, like a pound or 50p or something?
Why not? Yeah.
Just to... And then they get it, because I've had to edit the thing.
That's it.
And
it's all your time at the end of the day. People don't realise how much people volunteer their time to do these sort of things.
Did you see that thing that says, have you got a proper job?
Yeah, exactly. From Roz, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Roz. So, yeah, and by the way, we're in 2018, and we're making some new films every day. Well, not every day, but they're going out Monday to Friday every day. So we still have some of these old... best of the 2017. Now, just to remind you, they're all on YouTube and they're all on Facebook, so there's nothing new on there. But you might know somebody whose birthday's coming up and you want to introduce them, and perhaps they're not very technical savvy and they prefer to have a DVD, or perhaps you just want a souvenir. Well, we've got them here. I've got a few, but Martin said, I'm not doing any more until you've sold these. So we've got about 6 left, so if anybody wants them, because we'll soon be compiling the best of 2018. We've got about 10 months, obviously.
A few more walks to do then.
So, absolutely.
You'll be fit by the end.
I hope so. Yeah, slowly getting fitter. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have any more business, anything else to say?
I don't think so.
It's a lovely uniform.
It is.
It's black. Would that have been hot to wear?
It's not quite black. It should be a dark blue.
I'm
colourblind, so I'm not going to pick you up on it.
It is, well, to my eye, it's very black. But Harriet, I know, would say it was blue, because to me and Harriet, we have a funny thing. I mean, that's blue.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
So, right, so you're colourblind.
Yeah.
So can you see that that's red?
I can, because I know it's red.
You know it's red. Oh, I see. Yeah. So what do you see if you're colourblind? What do you see colours?
Usually more colours. You see shades, we see more colours.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's very confusing.
It is. It's a bit hard when you try to do a bit of art or something.
Yeah, and you pick the wrong. Yeah,
or doing souvenir books and trying to work out whether the colours are right. Well, I have to ask the other volunteers.
Yeah. Oh well, that's they probably feel that you're asking them for their technical advice when really they're just saying, "Well,
like I say, it's a real group effort down there, so we all pitch in anyway."
Oh, so, brilliant!
Yeah, it's fab.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, that's. But would it be hot?
This one not necessarily. It's not lined.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of a summer uniform.
So it's not heavy, because I was thinking, some of these old uniforms were very heavy. Yeah. I've worn for plays and things, sort of genuine World War One costumes and things like that. Yeah. And they're blooming heavy, and
itchy. And World War One.
Yeah, you get those trousers on you.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's in there crawling around, or it feels like it. That's sort of Hessian, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Did you know where the phrase chatting comes from?
Chatting?
Yeah.
What, like we're doing now?
Like we're doing now. Do you know where that came from?
No idea.
In the trenches, yeah.
Right.
Lice were known as chats, so we'd be sat there in close quarters, picking the lice off of each other, burning our seams to make sure that the lice aren't crawling over us. So that's chatting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How amazing.
So it's close quarters talking.
So before the First World War, chatting was not you would not seen that as a word, in that context. No. Chatting. So they were chats.
Pulling the chats. Yeah. Gosh. But you had to be close enough to each other to pull the chats off, so it's close quarter talking. There you go.
Gosh. Well, there we are.
A new thing every day, don't you?
Certainly do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have Gary here, Gary Baines from Shoreham Fort.
Thank you.
On the show. And if you'd like to do a live show with me, let me know, because it's much better to have somebody than just me.
And it's good fun.
And it's good fun,
It's
even
good
though
fun.
we're in the back room, and I think the fire's gone out. It's getting a bit chilly, but there is tea and cake. So,
yeah. Shall we put the kettle on again?
yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
We'll end the show with a nice cup of tea. So, yeah, what did you think of the tea?
The tea was nice, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not one for fruit teas, but I've drunk it all.
You've
so
drunk
it must
it all?
have been
Yeah,
quite nice.
it was all right, wasn't it?
It wasn't bad, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just waiting until the camera stops so I can eat the rest of this cake.
Oh, right. Well, we better go then.
Yeah, I'm not trying to show the volunteers that I eat too much cake because
Yeah.
they blame me for eating it all. You
Look
see.
at that. It's beautiful. So there we go. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause and big thank you to Gary.
Thank you.
For being on the show. Do go and visit Shoreham Fort. There's a website you can go to check it out at.
Yep, shorehamfort.co.uk.
Shorehamfort.co.uk.
And our Facebook page as well.
And yeah, go and like the Facebook page and you'll
Please
find
do.
all the activities. And your next fun day was?
The next fun day is the 1st of April. So
First of-
Easter Sunday fun day.
Easter Sunday
Easy
Fun
to
Day.
remember.
Yeah, there you go. It's well worth getting down and go and shake Gary's hand. And you never know, if I'm around, I might pop down myself.
Please do, yeah.
That would be
We'd
good.
like to see you with egg and spoon race or a sack race.
Oh, well, I'm up for that.
Why not?
I'm up
I'll
for
race
that.
you.
Yeah, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming to the chat room, and thank you for all your comments and all of that. We'll have another walk for you on Monday. In the meantime, it's Friday, so have a good weekend from Gary and I. Take care, one and all. And we played in a little intro with music and stuff at the beginning of the show. I haven't actually yet got the end one, so I've only got our little end caption, but that'll do for now.
Did like the fireworks, though.
You did like the
Thank you.
fireworks, I know. I'll have to think of something else for next time. Till then, from Gary and I, bye-bye!
Goodbye.
Bye-bye!